Hey you guys, this is Mrs. Knight. I'm going to try to make this quick, but what I'm going to do is a video for us to review and then take a quiz. I know this was kind of all of a sudden and I don't really have any of my filming stuff at home. I did grab my work computer, but so here goes. Okay, on this review, we're reviewing solving systems of functions, of linear functions, as well as inequalities. The first question on my review says solve a system by graphing. And so I'm going to grab this piece of graph paper here and I'm going to refresh your memory, which you guys should be really good at this point because both of these equations are in slope-intercept form. So the y-intercept is 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the slope is 3. So typically I would go up 3 and right. I always like to go right first, which means my first point would be over here somewhere. And that means I could then go down 3 and over 1, down 3, back 1. Okay, so now I'm going to graph this line right here. And so the y-intercept is 1 and the slope is 2. So if you see here, the y-intercept is -1, 2, and you have to remember to write your solution as a coordinate. Okay? I'm sure you guys are all pretty good at that at this point. I wrote a little note to myself to remind you about parallel lines. Parallel lines look like this, and they don't intersect anywhere. And if the line is itself, it's like two of the exact same lines, the solution is infinite many because they overlap anywhere. Remember, you can only have, if you have two lines, you can either intersect in one place, intersect nowhere, or intersect everywhere because they're on top of each other. Okay, I wanted to review with you some word problems because I feel like I haven't done a ton in class, and I know when people write big tests, they love to put word problems on there, and so I wanted to make sure I touched base with you guys about that. Okay, the first word problem says, Club A, so it's some kind of like ice cream shop, and you can get a card, like an special ice cream card. You pay $30 for the card, and you get every ice cream for $1. At the second ice cream shop, which is called B, you can buy a card for $10 and then every single ice cream is $2. Okay? And it says, how many ice creams do I have to buy so that I spend the same amount? So it doesn't matter if I went to A or I went to B. So we're gonna first write down the equations. And I'm thinking of slope-intercept form here, mainly because I have a one-time fee and a reoccurring fee. So Club A, I can write an A here. Club A is going to be y equals, well, what am I paying over and over and over and over? It's $1 every single time I get an ice cream. So you could put a 1x, but we can also just put an x, and then I pay that $30 once. That's my one-time fee. The second place, I pay $2 for ice cream every single time I get an ice cream, and then I have a $10 one-time fee. Okay, so I know on this test that you guys are gonna have, I'm gonna ask you to write these equations. So that's really important that you know how to do that. And then I'm gonna say solve it. Well, X is the amount of ice creams you get and Y is the total cost. So you can solve this maybe by substitution. So I'm gonna substitute this into the Y spot. So I have X plus 30 equals 2X plus 10. All right, I'm gonna subtract X from both sides. Now I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides, and X is 20. So at 20 ice creams, I will end up paying the same price. Now, if I wanted to find the actual price, I could plug my 20 into one of these equations, and we should get the same thing. 20 plus 30 is 50. I'd end up spending $50. 20 times 2 is 40. 40 plus 10 is $50. Okay? All right. I guess I should have put a B there so you knew that was the equation for the second location. Okay, another kind of word problem that we run into. I bought tickets to a show. A child's ticket costs $6. An adult ticket costs $10. If I bought 80 tickets for $760, how many adult tickets and child tickets did I buy? All right, when I'm writing these equations, I'm gonna slide my paper up. I really like using A and C because then I can figure out exactly what I want with it. Okay, so I have a child ticket plus an adult ticket, and that is going to be 80 tickets. I buy 80 tickets. So this row right here is just talking about how many tickets I'm buying. The second row is going to talk about money. Well, $6 for a child ticket plus $10 for an adult ticket costs $760. All right, so now I have so those are the equations, right? Remember, I'm going to ask you for the equation. It's really important that you know what the equation is like. The second part of this is going to be to solve it. Well, I'm asking how many adult tickets and how many children's tickets. So I need to know what A is and C is. And the reason why it's helpful for me to write an A and a C is so that I know when I get my answer, when I say A equals 8 or whatever it is, I know that that stands for an adult ticket and I don't have to go back and figure that out. Okay, well, I'm going to solve this by using elimination. So I just multiplying by 10 is a lot easier for me. So I'm going to multiply this entire row by -10, because remember, I want these to cancel out. So the top row ends up being -10c minus 10a equals 800, -800, sorry. I'm going to add that going down. So I have -4c equals -40. Divide both sides by -4. C equals 10. So that means I have bought 10 children's tickets and I have to figure out how many adult tickets. Well, I can fill this into either equation. So let's go with the top. That looks like the easiest one. C plus A equals 80. And my C is 10. So 10 plus A equals 80. A equals 70. So I buy 10 children's tickets and I buy 70 adult tickets. All right. I have another word problem that I wanted to share with you. Structured a little bit differently, but not too bad. I bought 5 apples and 3 lemons for $5.15. I bought 8 apples and 6 lemons for $9.20. How much is it for a lemon? Okay. So I'm going to set up my equation. Just think about it. You know, before I did like apple, I did the top row was how many I bought, and then the bottom row was the prices. Well, this one is set up a little differently. It's like I bought 5 apples plus 3 lemons, and it cost $5.15. I bought 8 apples and 6 lemons, and it cost $9.20. All right, so now I'm gonna, this is set up the same way. So I'm gonna use elimination as well. I'm gonna multiply this row by -2. The reason why I'm doing that is because if I have a 6 and a -6 here, that's gonna totally cancel out. So I'm gonna rewrite this just down here. So I have -10a minus 6l equals -1030. Is that right? I don't have a calculator on me. Okay. So I'm going to add going down. So I have -2a, my l's cancel out, and I have $1.10 negative. Divide that by -2, and I get that an apple costs 55 cents. All right, so an apple is 55 cents. I'm going to plug that into one of these equations so that I can figure out how much a lemon is. All right, so I have 5 apples and 3 lemons, and that's $5.15. Ugh. Okay, I have 5 apples plus 3 lemons. It's $5.15. 55 times 5. You guys are allowed calculators on this. $2.75 plus 3L is $5.15. Subtract 275. And divide by 3. Is going to be 80 cents. So a lemon is 80 cents. All right, so those are kind of the 3 different sort of word problems that come up a lot with systems. But we just had a few other things to review as well. Okay. I wanted to refresh your memory on this just because in class a lot of people got stumped by this. Remember that if I say something like you don't see an X or a Y, and it just said X is, it said X is greater than 4, you would just go to the 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you would do your dotted line at the 4 and shade test a point. Does 0 work? Is 0 greater than 4? No. So you'd shade over here. Okay, I don't know why I showed you that and then did another problem here, but this is the one that was on your notes. So this equation right here, you would say, okay, am I gonna start off, if I have to write the equation, am I gonna say X or Y? It's going through the Y. I'm sorry, it's going through the X. Okay, so I'm gonna say X and it's going through the X at 3. And now I have to figure out which way my inequality is gonna go. Well, this is a dotted line, so I'm not gonna have a line underneath it. All right, let's test the origin, 0. So I want this to be true because the origin is shaded in. So is 0 and 3, and I want it to be true. So I'm gonna say greater than, and that is what my inequality is. Now over here, it says which of these points are solutions. So remember, in order for it to be a solution, it has to be in the shaded region. And this shaded region goes all the way out here. So if I said like -12, 1, it would be in the shaded region. Okay, let's look at each point. 2, 3, yes. Oh, that's a funny check. Yes. 0, 0, yes. 3, 2, now this is on a dotted line. If this line was solid, it would work, but because it's a dotted line, it is not. -3, 1, yes. 4, 5, no. All right, remember with inequalities, it starts to get a little tricky with the words at least and at most, especially when it's just talking about numbers and you can't relate it to anything. What I always think of is if I turn it into like a real life situation. So for instance, if I said, I'm gonna go shopping and I have at least $20 on me. Well, I could have more, right? You would know that. You would know that X could be, if I said I have at least 20, you know that X could be at least. So I could have more than $20. But when I all of a sudden just say X is at least 20, it gets a little confusing. So think of like a real life situation. If I said, I'm gonna go shopping and I have at most $20, then it means I know I don't have any more than that. I could have $20, but at most I have 20. Okay, I could have less than that. So just really go back and look at those because I always think that gets a little tricky with those two sayings. Okay, the last one that I want to go over, just because this is going to encompass the section right before it. What are the solutions to the inequality? So I'm going to graph here. I'm going to put a little, I just search for graph paper. Found some. Okay, so I'm going to graph this first line. It's in slope-intercept form. So the y-intercept is -4. The slope is 1. Okay, I'm going to test the origin. Does the origin work? 0 is greater than -4. Is 0 greater than -4? It is. So I'm going to shade this part. You are going to have to do one of these on the test tomorrow. So make sure you got that down. Okay, the next one, the y-intercept is 3 and the slope is -1/2. So down 1 over 2, down 1 over 2. My graph paper is not big enough. Oops, you guys, I forgot on this one. This should be a dotted line because there's no line underneath it. And a lot of times these dotted lines looks like little hash marks like that. And then here, this is going to be a solid line because it has that line underneath it when you connect it. Down 1 over 2, okay. And then let's test the origin. Whoops. Let's test the origin. Because the origin line is not going through the origin. 0 is less than, because I would multiply here, right? I'd multiply that by 0 too. So you'd have 0 is less than 3. Is 0 less than 3? Yes, it is. So you're going to shade this side And remember, I need to be able to see one section being shaded darker than the next, because this is really where your answers are. Your answers are in this double shaded section. And if I were to look at some coordinates, if I said, is this coordinate a solution? Yes, because it's in the double shaded section. Is this one? No, because it's not in the double shaded section. What about if it's on this solid line? Yes, it is a solution. Here, it's not, because that's not a solid line. Okay? All right, so here's what I want you guys to do. You are going to have a day to review and a day to take the test. So I'm gonna open up the test. I'm probably just gonna open up everything so that tomorrow, which is going to be today, you can see the video, you can review, and you can take the test. What do I need to tell you? You only have one chance to take it, and it's only going to be open for an hour. So you don't want to just open up the test and click around. You want to make sure that when you get in there, you are able to have a full hour to take it. Okay? I would review these notes, and I'm going to also send an email out with all the information. All right, you guys, have a great day, and I will see you on Monday. Bye-bye.